Hi, my name is Katherine Beim-Esche, and I'm the founder and director of the Fellowship of Former Christian Scientists. And today we're going to be talking about the Get Wise project. I'm really excited about this project because it gives us an opportunity to collaborate with the Ex-Christian Scientist group. And the heart of this project is focusing on the psychological damage that comes from years of indoctrination from Christian Science. We've been able to offer webinars and now 2 semesters of Get Wise support groups. And today I'm excited to invite Caito, who's been participating in one of our groups, to come and share a little bit more about her experience in this group. So Caito, we're so glad to have you here today.
Hey, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, I just love to know, just Caito, how did you first hear about the Get Wise support group? How did you get involved?
Um, yeah, I think it was definitely through the Ex-Christian Scientist Facebook group. I think I probably saw posts about it. I also appreciated that, you reached out to me and we talked. And so it was nice to sort of put a face with the support groups as well. Like, oh, there's a person I know, and then there was also the talks, or I don't know what to call them, but the talks with the pardons,
Yeah.
about,
Yeah,
why
Bob and Judy
Christian
Borden
Science
gave her.
still, yeah. So
Yeah.
those, I don't know if I attended in person. I wasn't able to, but I definitely registered and then watched the video afterwards and was, very much impacted by it. So, after talking to you, I was seriously interested. So,
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah. So you were able to join us. It'd be great if you could just share what's been a highlight of this semester being in the support
Yeah.
group.
Um, so many things. I like the Facebook group, but I felt that this was just a whole nother level of support. And, it was just amazing to be able to connect more directly with other people who were in the same or similar boat, who had, really understood my experience, and whose stories I could see reflected in my own. And it just really helped with the whole process of sorting through this stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the connections.
Oh,
And
that's so
also
great.
having Gina Roth there as a professional, in the field of counseling people who are coming out of, abusive religions and cults and that kind of thing. Just, even just knowing she's there is really comforting. But then obviously learning a lot about just what what has happened to me, like psychologically, in my brain, and understanding, I've just had so many, sorry, I'm going on too long, but just like a lot of aha moments.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, and it's yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things we're really hoping to do is connect former Christian scientists, ex-Christian scientists with non-Christian science experts that can just kind of name our experience, help us not to feel so alone, and then be able to walk alongside us in our recovery journey. Another really important thing to us is that we're committed to walking alongside in these projects, specifically people coming from different perspectives. And so, have you felt like this was a safe place for people coming in from both the FFCS group and the Ex-Christian Scientist group and other backgrounds?
Yes, absolutely. um I'm coming from a position of definitely having trouble trusting um other, religions, or just other, forms of spirituality or what have you. And so, I definitely had those concerns, but, once I talked to you and then, after joining the group, it was just like, okay, it's not a thing to worry about. I just felt like we were all really open-minded and really just like caring and loving and supportive of each other. And yeah, it's just felt totally safe. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, well, I'm so glad. I mean, that's our heart. And so, yeah, I'm glad that's been your experience. Another thing that's just, I mean, it just was so exciting to hear just about your artistic endeavors and just how this group was kind of it impacted some of your artistic process with a new project you've been doing. So I was hoping you could just share a little bit about your exhibit and your amazing art and just kind of maybe how the support group played a part.
I guess, it started out of me using art as a way to cope or process my experience with grief, actually, over the passing of my mother about 3.5 years ago. And while I was in graduate school, I graduated in May 2020, but while I was in graduate school, I started making artwork about it, sculptures in particular. Um, and as I was sort of digging into, my grief and sort of, I think grief brings up a lot of, it just gets you thinking, right? And it causes you to sort of realize that the world isn't always what you think or expect, and you start to reevaluate, your values and beliefs. So it really got me sort of thinking about the Christian Science stuff, and that's where I really started to go on this journey of extricating myself from the religion, because I'd been half in, half out for so long. So the work naturally started to start addressing that whole process. But I had been very, what's the word, private about my experience of being raised in Christian Science my whole life. It was always just this sort of like big secret. And so it was really hard for me to share that work with others. And also, even in the process of school, you share the motivations or the stories behind the work with people trying to get like help or ideas of how to make the work effective or clear or that kind of thing. But it was hard because there was no one in my school community that really like understood what I was trying to do or what I'd been through. So once I was in this group, it just really changed something for me. It was like, okay, there are people that really would connect with what I'm, trying to say, what I'm doing. And it gave me a sort of confidence and like an extra layer of motivation to get these works done and finished. And we didn't get our thesis shows last year because of the whole COVID thing. So a bunch of my classmates and I decided to organize our own exhibition this past April. And so finally I had like a deadline to, finish the artwork. And I have to say, I almost didn't put the artworks that were about Christian Science in the show because I was so nervous about it, or like worried that it wouldn't connect with anybody or anybody outside of the Christian Science world. And also just because it was such like a vulnerable, scary thing that I was still working through. But in the end, I think, just talking to everyone in this group, and it just helped me kind of push through all that discomfort and just decide, no, I'm going to put it in and I'm going to see what happens. And it was amazing just, to share it with everybody and to post it in, the Ex-Christian Science group and share it with all of you. And to get, all this feedback like, wow, this really speaks to me. This resonates. That then gave me the courage to take the next step of, going public about being out of Christian Science, so that even people who were still in Christian Science or whoever would see that and see the work and know what it was about. And it's been a really important part of my healing process, I think, to be able to finally go public with this experience and, where I am at in this journey. But also, making the artwork has been really cool to help me process these things. So yeah, I'm really grateful.
Well, your art is just amazing. I mean, it just really touches my heart. And from the response within the XCS community, you can see you really named a lot of just the pain and the heartache, and just name this story. So I thank you for doing this work, and I'm excited that you're going to share some of these pieces with us, and just kind of some descriptions. So in the next couple months, some of the blogs, and thank you for being vulnerable and courageous in taking these steps, because it helps us all in our healing process, our recovery process. So
I'm so glad.
thanks so much. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Well, as you know, as we kind of end today, it's just interesting to think about, like, in a nutshell, right now, how is your understanding of your background in Christian Science evolving? How is this impacting your recovery journey? How would you put that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely still evolving. I feel like the way I think about it and what I say about it, like, is changing weekly, but I mean, it's interesting that these artworks I made, some of them were made or starting to be made in 2019 in the fall. So where I was at mentally was very different from where I am now. But it's interesting how, as I make these works and I like interpret them or see how they fit into my journey at any point, and how they reflect that. But I guess, one of the big changes has been just realizing that there are parts of my story, or who I thought I was, what I thought was my personality, that I just didn't realize were like results of the whole Christian Science culture that my family followed and that I was raised in. And to sort of realize, like, that's not me, right? It was something done to me, right? I was made that way by this culture, and I can change that. That has been incredibly freeing and just gives me so much hope. To know that there are like psychological things happening, and that there are ways to address it and to take control of my life again.
Right.
And to be the person that I want and need to be.
So. Yeah. Oh, that's just,
and it's
yeah.
also, sorry. And I was going to say also that it's really done interesting things in my relationships with people as well, especially with my family. I think, there's going to be rough points, but in the end, it's really brought healing for some of us. So.
Well, and that's interesting. It just makes me think of, sometimes people wonder if a group like this, do I need to do something like that? Do I need to go there? I'm done with it. I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about
You
this.
do.
Is it helpful? I mean, like, who would be helped by a group like this?
Right. I mean, I think that, there may be lots of people who think they don't need it or that they wouldn't benefit from it. And I was one of those people, actually. I don't want to say I was skeptical, but it was more like, I think that's amazing. And, I want to be a part of that. But I, for some reason, like, was like, oh yeah, I'm out now. I'm done. I'm fine. And so I was thinking of it more like, oh, like, maybe I could help out rather than like be a participate. And because I like, support groups and facilitating and stuff. But like, I had this idea that like, oh, I'm fine, so I don't need that. But as soon as I decided to join it and check it out, I think in the very first meeting, I realized, oh, like, okay, I've got stuff to work on. Like, I just didn't realize. Like, I didn't realize that this thing that's an issue was actually a result of Christian Science. It just really like helped me connect so many dots that I didn't know were connected. So I think even if somebody doesn't think they need it, I mean, maybe just try it, because yeah, there's the two components, right? There's like the not feeling alone, connecting to these other people. That has just been really life-changing for me, but also just the whole aspect of talking through what really happened, even in your brain, and how to take control of that again. So yeah,
That's great.
try
Yeah,
it.
thanks so much, Caito. Yeah, it's just really meaningful to have you here and to share your experience and your stories. And I'm just so thrilled to be able to share your art with just our supporters and the people walking alongside us and our just our community. It's just so powerful, and I think people will really get a lot out of it. And I also just want to invite people. We have a couple events coming up. We have another webinar with Bob and Judy Pardon. This would be a great way to just get a taste of what we're talking about here. Why is Christian Science still influencing my identity? We were raised being told we were perfect, and it's a lot to sort through as we leave. So we'll be talking about personality and the Myers-Briggs and just some really helpful things there. And then later this summer, we're actually going to have a 3-day conference where we talk about why is Christian Science still influencing my faith. And so that's going to be some pretty heavy topics, a safe place to sort through our past. I mean, we all come out of a background of faith, and it's important to think about the way Christian Science manipulated faith, and how we can sort through that after we leave. So and then we'll be starting support groups up in the fall. So we hope you consider joining us for any of these upcoming Get Wise events. And thank you again, Caito, for being here today. It's just been great to talk with you.
Thank you.
Bye.